You are watching the scariest horror story ever. A woman was home alone when she saw a demon with long flowing hair standing in the corner of her room. She screamed and ran out of the house into the rain. The moment she got outside, she looked back at the house, and that's when she realized the front door had vanished. Before she could scream again, something grabbed her and dragged her back inside. And now, the woman is trapped forever. This is the terrifying tale of a young woman who found a creepy old house for rent by the sea. She didn't care how run down it was or that locals warned her not to go there. She moved right in. But there have been lots of deaths in the house. One day she heard chains dragging metal moans. Then she started hearing whispers coming from the walls and floorboards. She thought it was just the house settling, so she ignored it. Then one night she heard heavy footsteps running up and down the halls, and all of a sudden she saw the horrifying specter of a gaunt, pale man dragging himself closer and closer. She tried to call out for help, but no voice came out. She was paralyzed with fear, and then he was upon her, his claws extended, sinking into her neck, his eyes boring into hers. He hissed in her ear, "You're mine now," and then he disappeared. Every night after that, the demon waited at the woman's bed, wailing and clawing at the sheets until dawn. So one night she called a priest and begged him to come over and perform an exorcism. As the priest approached the house, he noticed all the windows were boarded up, but he still knocked on the door anyway. Just as he was about to ring the doorbell, though, the sound of chains dragging echoed through the air. The priest whipped around to see a hunched-over figure dragging itself towards him. It was the emaciated man from before, except this time he had a wicked smile on his face and his eyes were glowing red. The priest screamed and ran. That's when the creature lunged forward and sank its claws into his shoulder. But before it could drag him away, the priest managed to pull out a crucifix and hold it in front of the demon. With a shriek, the demon retreated into the darkness. So the priest went back to his car and called the woman, but she didn't answer. That's when he realized the line was dead. When he turned around, he saw the same emaciated demon standing on his car, grinning wickedly. And just like that, the demon vanished again. The priest never returned to that house. To this very day, nobody knows what happened to him. But a few days later, a social worker got worried because nobody had seen the woman in weeks. She asked the local police if they could do a wellness check on her. They agreed, and they arrived at the house. When they knocked on the door, though, they didn't get an answer, so they opened it and walked inside. That's when they discovered a diary lying on the floor. The last entry read, "I haven't slept in days. I keep hearing footsteps running up and down the hall. Last night I saw a shadowy figure standing at the end of my bed. I don't think I'm safe here." The officers searched the entire house but couldn't find the woman anywhere. They checked in the closets, under the beds, and even in between the curtains, but she was nowhere to be found. They checked the backyard next and found a set of muddy footprints leading away from the house. But when they followed them, they soon disappeared. The police even brought in a canine, but even its sensitive nose couldn't pick up the woman's scent. She had vanished into thin air, and to this day nobody has ever seen her again. But some say they've heard her screaming in the middle of the night. A short while later, a group of teenagers decided to explore the creepy house. One of them, Jason, was particularly brave, and he walked right into the woman's bedroom. That's when he noticed something strange. All the wallpaper on one wall was peeling away, revealing a brick wall underneath. Curious, Jason pushed the bricks apart and found that they moved like a secret passage, and behind it was a dark tunnel. Jason figured it led to the basement, so he crawled through it. He found a ladder and climbed down and finally emerged into a musty old basement. That's when he heard chains dragging. He turned around to see the emaciated man dragging himself closer and closer. Jason screamed and tried to turn back, but the tunnel had vanished. Now trapped in the basement, he turned back to face the demon, but it had vanished. That's when Jason noticed a glint of light coming from the other side of the basement. So he walked towards it. He found an old wooden chest and pried it open. Inside was a diary. The first entry read, "I heard chains dragging tonight, and I saw a horrible-looking man dragging himself across the floor. I don't feel safe here." It was the exact same diary from the house. That's when Jason realized the horrifying truth. The demon wasn't haunting the house was haunting him. And somehow, the diary was guiding him to the demon. So he kept reading and found the final entry, which read, "It took me forever, but I finally found the demon. And the moment I touched it, I felt all my pain and sorrow leave my body. I am now one with the demon. And that's when it hit him. This diary belonged to the woman. She had found the demon and become one with it. So Jason ran to the stairs and began climbing up. He burst through the trapdoor and found himself in the bedroom. He didn't know it yet, but the demon had sensed his presence and was waiting for him. He ran to the window and escaped through it. As he scrambled onto the roof, he looked back to see the bedroom wall crumbling into dust. And then he heard the sound of chains dragging. He turned around just in time to see the demon with long, flowing hair standing at the edge of the roof. It bared its claws and hissed, "You can't escape me." Jason screamed and jumped off the roof. He landed on the soft grass below and ran as far away from the house as he could. Some say the demon is still haunting that house, waiting for its next victim, and no one has been able to enter the house ever since. Even years later, they found the diary in the rubble, but they never found the woman.